What is up, hotties? Welcome back to another episode of Stay Hot. I'm Blaiden Kirk, joined as always by my two favorite co-hosts of all time, Matthew Spawnhour and Theo Ash. We've got a great episode planned for you all today. It's the Stay Hot Mock 2.0, giving you our second mock draft leading up to, of course, the real NFL draft here in about a month. It's going to be a good time. We've got a little more info with free agency sort of being wrapped up at this point. Know how these rosters are starting to shape up. So trying to get a little bit more predictive and see what these teams might actually do instead of it's a little semi-predictive. Matt's for those listening.
It's a balance. Yeah. I don't want to do just exactly what I did. I mean, I'm very BPA pilled or whatever. But then I don't want to walk into the mock draft and just be like, here's my big board. I want it to be realistic to what teams are clearly thinking, right? So there's finding a balance with that, and I feel like I end up going a little more needs-based than maybe I would necessarily with some of these picks. And frankly, like the way the board falls, sometimes it's really tough to find that balance with a couple of these teams, which we'll get into. But I'm having an okay day.
Only okay?
There's a lot going on. NBA is wrapping up. The Hornets are in now a dead heat between being the 10th seed, which they will most certainly get blown out by a grillion points if they remain that, or if they're the 9 seed and they're like 3 games over 500, I'm going to lose my mind.
Matt, I hate to interrupt you. What do you think is the most interesting Illion? Like zillion, grillion.
I just defaulted to Grillion.
William.
I don't think Grillion is a real Illion.
No, it's not. That's the question.
I think language is
what is the
fluid.
best fake Illion?
It's hard to beat Krillion.
Yeah, Krillion's pretty good. I'm just saying, like between the NBA and then draft coverage and then moving, there's just one too many things for me to handle going on, I feel like. So I've been busy. I got to move the fish tonight, frankly. That's what's getting on my nerves, which is just impossible for the record.
How are you doing it? What's your plan?
You got to put them in Tupperware. There's no other way to do it. I mean, I can't maybe you can get the water really low. I'm sure there's fish experts who are watching who are like, here's how you have to do it. But that's what I do. And it's just a pain in the butt because I got to move the thing that they're sitting on too at the same time. So fishing them out isn't any fun or whatever, but we'll see.
Your hands are going to smell great, dude.
You just have to live with that for sure. The dishwasher did get fixed though. The landlord came in and took care of that. It's not all losses. And I'm starting to get the apartment to come together, but I've realized I'm probably going to have to rotate my massive desk, which is a pain in the butt, but
I've been thinking about downsizing my desk.
I've had this giant desk that I have. Better in theory than in reality.
Right? It's like you buy the big desk thinking, oh, all the workspace that I'll have, and then you end up just using the screens.
Yeah, my last desk was too small, but probably only by about 20%. This desk has some extra storage that's fun, but I'm in a space that's a little bit smaller than I thought. There's only so much. It's diminishing returns at a point. I'm not going to get rid of it because I spent like 3.5 hours building the thing, and we're here now, and
sunk cost fallacy.
That's exactly it.
I do think there is a point where a desk gets big enough that it's actually good again, but there is an area.
We're approaching that. I think it'll be better when it's more up against the wall, I suppose, or whatever. And the issue is I don't want to have the cords that I have to put behind my setup. That's like facing the rest of the room. I wanted to have it like a little section, and it's just the cords facing the rest of the room looks too ugly. And I even think with the best possible cable management, you can't overcome that because I've got the camera and the lighting and then the monitors. It's too much.
Cable management sucks. I hate it.
Yeah, I don't even bother. I'm just gonna flip it around so it's the back or whatever.
Yeah.
Matt, what is the nicest feature in your apartment? Like the one crown jewel, the location.
Yeah, it's a good spot. That's
something you probably can't go too in depth. Maybe you can.
Yeah, I mean, it's just.
What's your address?
We've damn near given away where I like live exactly on this spot before. So, I mean, you guys know I'm in Covington. So, if you're in the right part of Covington, Kentucky, it's very fun and walkable and whatever. And I've got okay, I can't give away too much. It's not terrible or anything. The bathroom is fine, and I've got it looking good. I went all green. It looks great. Green's my favorite color.
Green's a great color.
And I've been, yeah, it's the best color, and it's really not that close.
Well, I agree. I don't
even think it's debatable. Truly, green is so far and away the best color.
Blue is in its tier.
Blue, we respect blue. We got a lot of respect for blue over on Team Green. I was thinking about this exactly. Like, green is tier 1, blue will shake their hands. Every other color, sorry.
I like wearing blue the most.
You're not even gonna shake Red's hand.
Nope.
Yeah.
Nope.
You know what? We don't even want to shake Green's hand anyway.
Red is loud. Red is angry. Red is.
Have you seen Darth Vader's lightsaber, bro?
Green lightsaber's the coolest. It's easily the one I would pick. It's not even a question.
I would pick.
You can go red, blue, green, purple. Everything else is woke nonsense as far as I'm concerned.
Red is okay if you're evil. Like if you're Darth Vader and you're got the all black fit on every day, then that's when you can have some red. If you're going full.
It's so much easier to aura farm with a red lightsaber than it is with any other lightsaber.
That's not true. Green.
But we're not Sith, so you know what I mean? Like we can't. We can't aura farm using red as normal people.
Yeah.
But green is like nature maxing. It's like hygiene maxing. It's like health maxing. It's like, I don't know. I got a plant. It's not red. It's green. Anyway, maybe we got our mock draft.
Well, Theo, how are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing fine. I got my ass kicked playing the board game Root this morning because I don't know how to play it, but I still sign up and I just get absolutely obliterated because there are so many different things to think about, and like I'm trying to like figure out where my pieces are gonna go, but that's just like a drop in the bucket, man. Like I gotta think about the cards, and I can't fucking think about the cards. And then like someone who's good at Root is like winning the game, and I'm like trying to figure out again where my pieces are gonna go. And then they win because they face no resistance when I probably should be like attacking what they got going on, but I don't know what I got going on.
This is always the thing with non-traditional board. I've never played Root. I don't know what it is. But like, to me, if it's a board game that's like outside of the big known ones, it's like there's always someone that's like, bro, we've got to play this, and then no one knows how to play it except that person, and they end up winning, and it's like that doesn't feel ethical to me.
Oh yeah, that's how it always goes with me and Root, and I've never seen Spencer not win because it's such a complex game, and everybody plays differently. Like I'm not even playing the same game that he's playing, so he can't even teach me. Like
you're not even playing.
I'm kind of on my own. Yeah, like his objectives are different. The way he gets points is different. Like everything about it is like a little bit different. So I'm just trying. I was the Badgers. I was trying to figure out how to get the pieces in the woods or whatever, and I got like 3 pieces, but I couldn't get more than like 1 piece every couple turns because I wasn't playing the cards, and like it was a whole thing. But I had fun because it's fun to try to learn, even though I'm getting smoked. I'm there, and it's fun to think about it and try to come up with something. But plus, when I suck at it so bad, he wins so fast that like it doesn't even take that much time.
Maybe it's not even like a learning the game thing. Maybe you're just stupid.
I really might be. I mean, I got in last place out of the 4 of us playing. Maybe other people could grasp it faster than me. It's really possible.
Yeah, I don't know, maybe.
Anything's possible. But
yeah, maybe some people are the Badgers and they just clean up immediately. They're just like, oh yeah, I understand what these cards mean and what all these pieces are in the optimal way, and I understand what the lizard people are trying to do and why they can just turn my pieces into their pieces, and the gardens and how to generate enough badgers to smoke their gardens while also triangulating around the amulet or whatever. All right. A lot of people could probably figure that out immediately, but not me. I am too dumb.
Speaking of triangulating around the amulet, let's get into our mock draft.
Yeah, we do enough of these every year that I think
transition Matthew's fun hour.
We do enough of these every year that I think everybody knows the drill. I'm picking first. I'm the Raiders, and I'm gonna pick Mendoza. I'm not gonna bend. I'm not gonna, or I am gonna bend to the woke mob. I'm gonna take Fernando Mendoza, number 1 overall. Looking at the Raiders roster, I just don't know what else I could even do. Like, my favorite players are, of course, we all know who they are. They're Downs, they're Love, they're Bain, they're Tyson.
Yeah.
But picking any of them with the number 1 overall pick, I can't bring myself to do it here. Mendoza, I think he's a fine prospect. I don't envy the position the Raiders are in. I've said it many times, but I think the only thing that could prevent you from taking Mendoza would be if you liked another quarterback more, which some people, they do like Simpson
Apparently
more.
half the GMs in the league.
Apparently like half the GMs more in the league like him more. Look, this is Orlovsky talk, right?
Right.
Because he's the one going viral for saying Simpson is better than Mendoza. It's a fine take. It's just I wish he could articulate his points. Mendoza never. What big games? Every big game that happened in college football, maybe.
Mendoza was in more big games than any other quarterback in college football this year. No, like, or at least as many. I don't know. Maybe Beck played another. No, like even then, it's like, you know.
Yeah,
they played in the Big Ten championship game. They played all sorts of massive games. Like half their games were big games, dang near.
Yeah, and I guess you could maybe say that Mendoza didn't play great in all those big games, and Orlovsky sort of kind of hinted at that, like, but he got his facts wrong. Like he said that Mendoza only had like 7 points going into the fourth quarter, something like that, and it wasn't true. And like he's using it to prop up Ty Simpson, who completely collapsed when the going got tough.
Right.
So I understand maybe saying, hey, Mendoza didn't play great against Ohio State. And hey, Mendoza didn't really even make that many plays in the national championship game. It was kind of a quiet night for Mendoza. So you can say just because he won those big games doesn't mean that he put the team on his back and carried them in some of those championship matchups. But Orlovsky didn't say that. I don't understand why. And anyway, even if you don't like Mendoza, which is fine, I just cannot think of anybody better. I don't think it's Simpson. I don't think it's Beck. I don't think it's Taylon Green even. So
Aller, man.
It could, maybe it is Drew Aller, man, but I'm not taking him number 1 overall. Yeah.
We'll have to do quarterbacks episode next.
We are.
So right now, Drew Aller is not my quarterback 1.
No.
This guy's talent. I mean, he's talented.
Yeah.
He can generate power like super easily. I get the appeal, but
we'll need to do something about the DJ Glaze right tackle thing later, and the Trey Tucker Z receiver.
Nothing.
Maybe.
Hold on. What's wrong with Trey Tucker?
Maybe nothing. I don't know. Maybe you don't have to do anything about that.
Right.
But yeah, we'll figure those out in other rounds, and we'll just get our quarterback now, because who even is the starting quarterback for the Las Vegas Raiders right now? Assuming they didn't take one first overall. Does anybody know the answer to this question?
Is it
not O'Connell? Or?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it probably is. Yeah, it is. He's the only one on the roster. So yeah, we're not rolling with Aiden O'Connell. We're rolling with Fernando Mendoza. Blaiden, you've got the second pick here with the New York Jets.
Oh, and you could take Ty Simpson here if you really wanted to.
Again, yeah.
You could, but I'm not going to because they have Geno Smith, and I'm going to trust in Geno Smith this season. And also, I just don't think Ty Simpson's a particularly good number 2 overall quarterback. Give me Ruben Bain. And Ruben Bain is getting more hype now because Arvell Reese decided to take one for the team and and thwart his bending drills.
He did.
He did it on purpose to get people to shut up about Bain's arms.
Thank you. He just doesn't want to go to the Jets, but yeah, Bain really has looked the most impressive running through bags by a lot.
Yeah.
Of the 3 potential other edge rushers, Bain being one, obviously. Yeah. Then there's Bailey at the combine, who is falling down and looking stiff, and then Reese running through the bags at the Ohio State Pro Day and like literally coming to a full stop and then like almost turning around them like a normal person would instead of a super bendy edge rusher. So
it's like he's a linebacker officially.
I really do wonder where Bain's stock is at because he's.
It seems like it's low.
It seems like it's low.
That's how everyone's talking. Yeah. No,
that's how it has felt. David Bailey has been the guy that has been kind of propped up as the edge one over the last couple of weeks.
I disagree. I'm just really not on board with that.
Neither
frankly.
am I.
I think Bain at 2 is a perfectly fine pick. I think there might be a couple of guys who don't have the limitation with the arm length, but all those dudes play less valuable positions, and I think Bain is certainly close enough to them in level of prospect for him to be worthy of a selection over them.
Yep.
So. Yeah, I feel like Bain has flashed movement skills at every opportunity, you know? In the games, he's been productive, doing the drills, the extension, he's throwing things. Like, at what point here is he really falling off outside of the combine measurements, which are, you know, can be inches off apparently. So I really do wonder if his stock is genuinely low enough that he could fall to the Cowboys or even farther than that or something like that. Like some of these other mocks have him doing. But I mean, for the Jets at number 2, I do think that you need a cornerstone player on your defensive line.
Would Kansas City really not take him?
I can't imagine he falls out of the top 10. That would be insane to me.
He's gonna go to Dallas, and I'm not saying that you're wrong, Theo, because I've seen the same stuff.
Oh yeah.
He's gonna make it through Commanders, Saints, Chiefs, Bengals, Dolphins to make it to the Cowboys. That would be nuts.
I mean, even before that, like he's gonna make it through Jets, Cardinals. I
would take him with the 3rd pick if he was here, frankly, most likely. Which the Cardinals pick at 3 is an interesting one. From what I can tell, Cardinals fans are very in on Maui Noah. They want to get the tackle. They don't think the quarterback's going to happen this year, but they want to set themselves up. I understand that. I like the idea of setting yourself up for the quarterback. I don't know if Maui Noah is 3rd overall level prospect. The issue is the guys that you might take here, like Sonny Styles, I think is the other dude that you're really debating. Isaiah Simmons has kind of scarred them. Daniel Jeremiah made this big point about how like they missed on Isaiah Simmons and maybe they don't want to do this again. I think a lot of Cardinals fans feel the same way. I get that. And maybe the solution is just going down, just like a different position, but somebody who I think is reliable. But ultimately, I'm just too high on Styles as a prospect overall, somebody with really elite movement skills who I think can do a great job like knifing through offensive lines and getting downhill versus, being super fluid in coverage. He's a 10 out of 10 athlete or whatever you want to rate him as. And while the expectation certainly is high for a linebacker 3rd overall, frankly, I think your options here are take a guy who might be kind of blue chip-esque at a position that's a little less valuable, or reach on a dude who is maybe a more valuable position, but not like the level of prospect of a typical 3rd overall player. Now, maybe you could go with one of the wide receivers. I know that's like not super popular, but that's a very valuable position. And I think the top 3 receiver prospects are all pretty good, But here I'm just going to take Styles.
Yeah, I think that's perfectly fine. Yeah, I think you could have gone skill position. Receivers, I think you could have gone Love here. I think that's what I did last time we did this mock, and people flamed me for it. But like, if you want to just get a good player, I think that's a perfectly fine solution to just get on base here. And I think Styles you can do that with as well.
Yeah, Maui Noah, very sound tackle, kept a clean sheet in 2025, and I think works very well in combination with other linemen to run block. But just his overall range to make contact down the field and maybe to reach the more electric NFL rushers, that's what you question at number 3 overall. Whereas with Styles, it's just like, man, is this Fred Warner? Like the level of height and disruption to passing lanes and the ability to be elusive around guys trying to block him. Like he just steps around him and then out the other way. And man, he's very tantalizing if he could be, the ideal kind of Tampa 2, line him up on the line of scrimmage and then have them, guard the middle hole or blitz or, just do whatever you need to do in kind of these sim pressure zone coverage worlds that I think the Cardinals want to live in, first of all, with Rallis. I mean, they kept him from Gannon's staff, and Gannon was the ultimate, like, we're lining up, not even in positions. Like, we're just kind of moving at the snap, and then who knows who's blitzing and who's coming. Like, it just feels like these Ohio State guys, whether it be Reese or Styles, would really fit that scheme well and kind of played not to the same extreme as the Cardinals, but like all that kind of I mean, think of the Texas game right off the bat, like all the crazy things that Patricia was dialing up. And yeah, I could see them definitely liking one of the Ohio State linebackers more than Maui Noah, but man, or Maui Noah, but man, I sympathize with the Cardinals fans too, because their right tackle situation has been so bad for such a long time.
And you could also go corner here. I really wonder if Delane or McCoy has played themselves up to well, not played themselves, obviously, but like I'm very high on McCoy. Delane just ran great. I thought, one of his biggest questions as a prospect has been like the long speed. So I think that really does matter for him. And his last year of tape was phenomenal. So could you get a good balance of, we feel like we're getting a really high level prospect in combination with somebody who maybe doesn't have to be Fred Warner? That might not be a bad selection either. I don't think Maui Noah would be a bad pick. I just shy away from selections where I feel like the basis of the argument is the position they play outside of quarterback, which is obviously we live in a different society.
Yeah, right. That brings it to the Titans, another 3-win team. All these teams have won 3. So needs everywhere. And now with the Titans, I'm kind of looking at the very top of my board, and both 2 guys are there in Downs and Love. And it feels a little bit more reasonable to add them to Cam Ward's team instead of Aiden O'Connell's team, especially with Mendoza off the board. So that was kind of where I wanted to pick one of those 2, Downs, Love, players that just feel like NFL stars playing in college, honestly, is what it feels like. Like, Downs, such a solid safety, makes every tackle, covers extremely well. Blitzer, everything you want in a safety, just a defensive stopper. And then there's Love, who can block, who can wheel out of the backfield, catch things way downfield. He can high point the ball. Wouldn't surprise me to see him moss people over the course of his NFL career. Great blocker. He can be a lead blocker. If you had a running quarterback like Notre Dame did in 2024, Riley Leonard, like Love was playing fullback almost as much as he was playing running back.
Right.
And did a great job with that.
Leonard in some of those games.
Yeah.
Really toting the rock. You think about the national title.
Yeah. And those are the guys that I just really cannot find any kind of weakness with. So I want to take one of them if I'm the Titans. And the question is, which one? Safety and running back, 2 of the lower paid guys on the pay scale. But of course, my big theory is that you kind of get some savings down the line because you don't have to sog up your cap space paying them $40 million ever, which I think can actually be kind of convenient for you. And I like Amani Hooker. I like Kevin Winston is a safety that I really liked and still kind of am high on next to Hooker. So I'm going with Love here. I'm going with Jeremiah Love. They have Tony Pollard, but he wasn't great last year. Kind of had a fumbling issue. Not bad, but not super efficient. Only 1 year left on his deal anyway. Might not be a bad thing to split carries with him and Love to begin with anyway. I just would rather kind of replace him in the lineup than that safety duo that the Titans have. And if you're Brian Dable, you're coming from a place where you were kind of the poster child for, the perils of thinking too much about the positional value and thinking too much about, or we're not paying Jones to hand off to Barkley, and we don't want Leonard Williams. We want Brian Burns because he gets more pressure, and we don't want him, Xavier McKinney. We can let him walk. Like all these little things that Shane did in the name of trying to maximize value, and they just didn't get anywhere. I wonder if the boy math for Brian Dable is going to be, when I had Saquon Barkley and we gave him a career high in carries, we won a playoff game. So give me Jeremiah Love. I wonder if that's going to be his thinking. He already brought in all of his other friends, Wandale and Flott and Bellinger. He can't bring in Saquon, but I think that Love moves a little bit like Saquon Barkley, and maybe that's his plan to get the band back together fully. So I'm going with Love.
It's a touch high for Love for me, but I don't think it's a crazy pick. And it is tough to say, like, are you going to go one of the corners? It's like, well, we kind of just spent so much on the cornerback position. You could go with one of the receivers again. I think the value makes sense, and I'm a little bit more pro taking these receivers high if you want that balance of like good prospect with getting value. But I don't think it's crazy. And Love's an awesome player, and
there's a lot of smoke here. Like, there's a lot of smoke about connecting the Titans to Love is the other thing of, like, I don't think this is out of the blue or something that no one's saying. Like, Jeremiah Love to the Cardinals, maybe. Blaiden. There's not as much connecting them. But for the Titans, it's a pretty common mock. It seems like they like him. And with the Chiefs snagging K9 and with the Saints snagging ETN, maybe they think we don't have a chance to take him. Is maybe they're thinking. So there we go.
Great, Chad.
Nice. So now I'm on the board with the New York Giants here, and feel like common mock for them has been on the defensive side of the ball. I've seen Sonny Styles go here at 5, but he's not on the board right now. I tried to trade up with Theo. I was actually going after Love to replace Cam Scatterbill. No, I think a two-headed backfield would be nasty. But
with you, I would have taken your trade deal if I didn't know you and the odds that you take Jeremiah Love with the Giants pick. So I had to stick and pick him for the Titans.
Yeah, no, that's fair. So I ended up going corner here. I took Mansour Delane, trying to give them some quick twitch, some speed and physicality. Like you said, Matt, he ran really well in his 40s, so we can confirm he's got good enough long speed. But I thought even on tape, it really didn't look like that much of an issue to me. He seems to be able to run downfield with plenty of receivers with little to no issue. It's kind of the same thing people brought up with Pat Surtain, and I thought that was a non-issue for him as well. So I really don't have a big concern about the long speed with him. The physicality, the stickiness and coverage is really what stands out. You cannot go in to this season with Greg Newsome and Deonte Banks as your options for that opposite corner spot, I think. Both of those guys have been too bad in recent years. So, Theo, we cannot hear you.
They do have Paulson Adebo too.
Yeah, but
he's the 4th highest paid player on the team.
Yeah, I would really like them to get a top tier potential cornerback 1 in that room.
Right. Yeah.
It's been a long time since they've had a guy that has been really, really locked down in coverage, and I think Delane's a really good fit there. So.
Yeah, I think Delane's a really great player. I agree. His stickiness and coverage, his ability to mirror is pretty incredible. He's one of the wow cornerback draft prospects. I don't have an issue with him this high. I feel like you see him more down towards the 10 range, but I don't think that necessarily has to be true, right? We've seen cornerbacks go this high. He's not as hyped as maybe some of the cornerbacks who've gone this high before, but his last year tape was really fantastic. His testing is good. It's not that strong of a draft class. I don't think it's crazy that they could maybe skip over downs. With the front office, it maybe says, hey, we really care about positional value. I might still be willing to take downs here, but you could see them find a balance of getting a prospect they really like at a position they really value.
Yeah. The Giants have success taking LSU people too.
They do. That was kind of my other. I was like, should I take Delane or should I take McCoy? Because I have McCoy higher on my board. Just because
I think a lot of places are going to be scared about the ACL for sure.
I think,
and I get it. It's tough.
As someone who has torn their ACL, I get it. Dude, I'm at physical therapy today, and it's like it's so hard just to like engage my quad now. Like I can barely flex my quad. Like it's ridiculous. Like it totally saps all of your strength and flexibility there. So
I need you to be Micah tracker, because whenever Micah does something, I need to write it down and then compare Blaiden to. I'm going to ask you a couple months later about how you're feeling and see if Micah is progressing better than Blaiden Kirk, or if I should be concerned about September.
Like that.
He should be progressing better than me. He has world class like everything at his disposal. Which
but
like
you're Blaiden Kirk, goddamn it. I don't see why.
You know what, man? That's so true. And you know what? I'm working with the OSU people. Like they've got great people at OSU, so like I'm not complaining. And I've been getting good care so far. But yeah, I don't have NFL money or NFL insurance.
You're gonna have the ACL after you're done.
It's gonna be my patellar tendon in place of my ACL, but
the patellar tendon.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I think I do have a higher grade on McCoy. I think his press at the line of scrimmage is just so lethal. Like it's a true superpower that you just like don't see at that kind of in college. I'm like, that's insane. But Delane is really, really sticky. Matt, you mentioned his mirroring is outstanding. And he kind of makes up for like the lack of a really powerful punch with the patience at the line to just kind of sit and let guys come to him. He's not afraid to let guys get into his groin. I like that. So
no downs.
No downs. I do think the cornerback. So this is kind of a little bit of trying to not just go off my big board, because I know
it would make sense to go downs here.
I think it would, but they're well, I guess it would make sense, but I feel like their defensive coordinator is more of a corners guy than a safeties guy. So I was trying to be like, oh well, maybe they'd rather lean corner here. And also I think corner's just a bigger need. Like I just look at the depth chart and I see Greg Newsome and I'm like, no, that can't happen.
Newbin is worse than him. I'm sorry to tell you that Newbin is worse than him. And if Shane is still making the calls, I could see them getting gun shy about a safety at 5, 100%.
Sure.
Absolutely. And Shane has maybe drafted well. Maybe that's why they kept him around is for the draft, because that hasn't gone as bad as some of their personnel decisions in-house. But if Harbaugh is in charge, he might trade up for downs.
That's a good point.
He might. I wouldn't be upset.
So it'll be really interesting to see what direction they go with.
Yeah, I wouldn't be upset with downs here at all. I mean, as good of a safety prospect as we've seen in recent years and whatnot. But dude, like, I'm just like, they need a corner, but you're right. They also need a safety. So.
And if it is
again, Delane's last year tape was dope. So
it was.
Yeah,
it was awesome. But
so I'm sitting here at 6 with the Browns. Downs would be the top player on my board, or like McCoy or something like that if we didn't care about the ACL.
Sure.
The thing is that I feel like their plan or the expectations for what they're going to do is pretty telegraphed here, where they're going to try to build out the supporting cast for a potential quarterback. So I'm going to not buck the trend and kind of stick to that. I feel like rather than say, never mind, they're taking Downs. Even if I do lean BPA and I do think that it would be acceptable to do so, I have them taking Mekhi Lemon here at 6, which I still feel like is pretty.
That's BPA for me, man.
It's against the grain a little bit, but they desperately need receiver. Lemon is my number 1. Again, Tate and Tyson are super, super close. Any of those 3 guys would be good. And this is also a spot you could see tackle go highly. It wouldn't surprise me. Maybe they feel better about the wide receiver depth in this class and they do the tackle depth. I don't think that would be a crazy take. I actually think the top 6 guys, like we talked about last episode, are pretty good. So it's possible that's their thinking, but I'm not quite as positionally focused. And I think Lemon, who analytically was so strong last year, who I think has so many strong traits as, again, a guy who can play above his size, go high point the ball, has great hands, does a good job working over the middle of the field, has good feel against zone, just feels like a quarterback's best friend. If they wanted to go with more of a flavor of somebody who's an outside winner this high, I could totally see that. And I think that's why this pick is so against the grain. It's like, we're going to get a guy who maybe is a little bit more slot centric, but frankly, like, they need all types of receivers. So I'm going to go with the guy who I think I lean towards making the biggest impact. And that'll be Lemon.
Yeah. I mean, I've picked Lemon here. And that's to me like the right choice. And I think especially with the moves they've made in free agency, bringing in as many offensive linemen as they have, like it feels like they're going receiver here.
I think it kind of depends to me. They've made a lot of moves at offensive line, none of which I think are really setting them long term for the future, but rather like getting a baseline. So if I'm them, I'm still trying to build out the O-line.
Oh yeah, for sure. I could see them going O-line at 24. It's just
they're not trapped at offensive line here at 6. That's how I would put it.
Yeah, they at least have warm bodies. They didn't have that before.
Yeah.
Blaiden, you don't get the sense that they would prioritize an Ohio State guy over a California guy, would they? Cleveland? It doesn't seem like they do that quite like Pittsburgh.
The Browns don't really do that. The Browns, they're just kind of sit and take their guys.
I feel like they're a very pro analytics front office. No.
Yeah.
Then I think Lemon is the big analytics receiver as much as anything. Maybe here's what you would argue against him is kind of the positional value. Do you want a slot guy? Browns apparently don't care at all about that. They're very much a pro analytics, but anti-positional value. Not the anti-positional value entirely, but they took, running back and tight end and interior defensive lineman, which isn't really, I guess, an anti.
Traded up. That's not. Or no, they traded down, didn't they?
Yeah, that is pro. So. But you know what I'm saying. So I actually think that Lemon could make a lot of sense. But again, if Tyson's healthy, he's a good choice. If Carnell Tate is their pick and they want somebody more outside, more of a deep threat to open up the offense, it would be hard to argue against that as well. But I'll go Lemon.
I like it. For the Commanders, I'll go with Caleb Downs here, best player on my board.
This would be a huge win for them.
You could go with Reese, but he's kind of similar to the body types at linebacker that they already kind of have. I feel like with Luvu and Bobby Wagner, he's that downhill thumper and somebody who really fills the gaps well. But Downs they need secondary pieces. They've bought a whole new front seven. It's shiny, it's new. I'm excited to see those guys work, but now the secondary needs to get addressed, and here we go. Caleb Downs instantly changed the college franchises that he showed up at. As a freshman for Alabama, was great, shows up to Ohio State, wins the national championship. So, look, he's just, if you've never seen Caleb Downs, if you don't watch college football, if you haven't heard me talk about him, he just does everything right. Like, you need a tackle to get made, he'll make the tackle. You need a hard hit to jar the ball loose in the seam, he'll do it. Like, you need someone to line up in the right position in front of him, he'll do it. You need someone to evade an offensive lineman coming in to block him, he'll do it. Like, he literally does everything and always finds the way to complete his mission, man. You need someone to run through a center and make a tackle one-handed in the box, he'll do it. He really does feel like when you're watching him like an elite linebacker when he rotates down there. And you can line him up all over the field in the slot. He can guard people in man. It's crazy how good he is, how complete he is. And if I was the Commanders, I would absolutely run this card up.
Yeah.
Matt, you are bumping your mic has changed.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think my mic hasn't changed.
Just for some reason I started hearing some air.
My headphones are running out of battery, which is strange because I had them plugged in for an hour before we started.
That is odd.
It's better now that you're talking. Just for a second there, it started getting.
Sorry, I was seeing where my earbuds were. Let's just keep rolling. They usually stay alive for a while.
All right.
And we'll see.
Cool. But yeah, I love the Caleb Downs pick here. I can't imagine he would fall past this. I mean, we've now mentioned 4 teams in a row where we're like, well, he could go here, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just because he is that good of a player, that good of a prospect. So I don't have any problem with this at all. This is a home run. And that's
Blaiden.
my pick again.
Yeah.
Not my pick for the New Orleans Saints. What will they do? They're going to take another Ohio State player. You look at the offense last year. You're impressed with Tyler Shuck. You feel like you've got your franchise quarterback. You want to make sure he's got the pieces around him. And you look at the receivers, and it's like Chris Olave and friends. Oh, joy. Let's bring in one of the best contested catch deep threats in college football in Carnell Tate. And now you have Chris Olave and Carnell Tate right next to each other on this receiving lineup. That gets, I think, really exciting for the level of this offense, especially now that they have, Travis Achane in the backfield. Like that offense starts to get really, really exciting. I thought about defense here. I thought about Reese. I thought about McCoy, just trying to get some more bodies there. But I feel like offense is the more pressing need. You look at the rest of the receivers outside of Olave, and it's like Mason Tipton and Devon Vallette. Like it's
they're going to end up with a wide receiver.
They need a receiver bad. They do.
It feels. I mean, with Olave's health issues, if he misses any time, like you just can't trot who they're going to trot out there.
They do have Jalen Polk.
One of the worst picks of all time. They do have Bub Means. Come on now. I remember him flashing in one game that I watched.
Yeah.
Shout out Bub Means. And I kind of liked him at Pittsburgh too. But Bub Means is not as good as Carnell Tate, I have to say. And yeah, I think Reese or maybe a corner like McCoy could get picked on defense, but their defense was pretty good last year. Right. And I don't really think they can go with Reese after signing Ellis. That would really be pass rush maxing your off the ball linebackers.
They've got Chase Young, they've got Ellis, they've got
they've got Granderson, we'll see if Brzee ever ends up being anything. Look, it's not a great defense. You could certainly add something, but overall, it just feels like wide receiver is way too big of a screaming need to pass up on the guys who are available.
Yeah.
So that brings it to me with Kansas City. I think this is a really difficult pick, honestly. So I don't think the board has fallen super favorably towards them. And you start to say, okay, like what positions make sense? They could go offensive line. Mm-hmm. But they've invested a lot in offensive line recently. They could use another tackle. You could go receiver, but they've invested a lot there. And with just Tyson on the board, you're risking a lot with the injury stuff. It's pretty boom, though, as a real outside winner if you get that. McCoy would be one of the top guys on my board, but I don't think that really makes sense either, right? I mean, they just traded away a corner. So do they not value the position and they're going to take one top 10? Well, maybe they just didn't want to pay a guy who's a little bit more slot centric.
I think they just wanted to reset their clock here because you could get 4 years of McCoy for a fraction. I mean, a fraction of.
Sure, but they also let Snead walk, right? Now, maybe that was just the right choice, but it kind of feels like that corner is not super valued by them.
But they did take McDuffie in the first round.
That's very true. True.
I think they could definitely go with McCoy here.
The first round and McCoy here at the top 10. Maybe my logic is wrong and they could go McCoy, but I ended up going Reese.
Reese is a good enough player that I think that it does make some sense for the Chiefs to go Reese, but I don't think it doesn't make sense for them to go corner. In fact, I think that it's probably their plan either here or at 29.
Okay.
To say
maybe my read on that's wrong then, but I still am taking Reese. You know, and I'm also not that high on Bailey here, I guess is my other point. And I know edge rusher is a pretty massive need. So Reese is somebody where obviously the question is going to be like, exactly how much is he rushing the passer and how does he fit into a linebacker room that's already got a couple of guys? I think that even with the video that came out today that's showing he has bad bend, that there's more potential there than you know, being a nothing or never being a pass rusher. And the reps that he had at Ohio State, he looked very good and maybe didn't get as many opportunities as he could have. He's very naturally strong. His punch is super good. His length is tough to deal with. But even if he's off the ball, I think his ability to stack and shed and knife through offensive lines to make plays in the run game, and it's just his overall ability as a play finisher, is pretty spectacular. And again, with the play finishing, if you need somebody to spy or whatever, I mean, he's the man to go to. And if he ever does find his way as a pass rusher, he would strike me as somebody who will make the most of the pressures that he does get. So I thought Reese here we're kind of letting fall pretty far compared to consensus. Kansas City needs some defensive help, so I'd go with them.
Yeah, I even like Reese a little bit more than Styles. I think the more I watched Ohio State's defense, the more impressed I just got about Reese's ability to stack and shed and finish tackles through a messy picture.
I don't think it's crazy either, but Styles is a lot more. I think he's a little more well-rounded than Reese, but Reese is more of like a pass. Two very different things.
It is.
Reese's upside is probably higher value than Styles, but I don't think Reese is a level of a coverage player that Styles is.
Right. I do definitely prefer Reese's like play finishing as a tackler. Styles, I think, can come a little too high and really try and like swing you down.
Yeah.
Like I want you to drive people through, and he just doesn't quite do that.
Yeah, 100%. Styles only missed one tackle last year per PFF. It's like some ridiculously all-time number, but when you watch him on tape, I just am not that impressed with the tackling form, and I almost feel like Ohio State's defense was so good that Styles never even had to make like a solo tackle. It's like, oh, here's Styles and the other Styles together, or here's Styles and Reese, or here's Styles and whoever it is, like constantly vicing people and tackling them together. They were such a good unit. So that I thought some question marks about Styles tackling were kind of left unanswered for me on the tape, whereas with Reese, like spectacular flying through the air, snag you with one hand, go inside and then expand outside around somebody and make a diving tackle. Like it's crazy. But yeah, he's definitely more of a downhill player, and Styles is more of a uphill player, I guess, with coverage. And for linebacker, you might say, give me a linebacker whose best trait is blitzing is like not that crazy. I could certainly see that argument, but
sure.
I really like, I have ended up kind of coming around on Reese, but just as an off the ball run defender is just so crazy.
Right.
And potential pass rusher. But yeah, I really, if you want to trade me, Matt, I'll trade you for the Bengals pick, Reese for Jermod McCoy, because I really wanted Reese for the Bengals. Like
maybe that makes more sense. Why don't we do that?
Sure.
Okay.
Sure. I mean, for all the reasons I just talked about with Reese, obviously that sounds like something the Bengals need.
Oh yeah. I mean, you don't have to explain that. And if the Chiefs are willing to take an outside corner, I think McCoy at 9 is great value. I know the injury stuff and I take it seriously, but an ACL is something that you can come back from. It doesn't seem like it's not some like nagging foot injury or like, I don't know, like a hamstring that's nagging Tyson on top of a knee issue that could be like a long-term problem or something like that. So, one
ACL tear a long ass time from September of 2026, right? Like, over a year and several months from that point. Like you would think that Jermod McCoy could come in and ball out pretty much immediately without, too many issues. And if they wanted to replace, if their plan is, let's trade away, let's just reset our money, trade away McDuffie, but obviously we still need a corner. Like, McCoy would make a lot of sense.
The ability to press, the size and the speed, the ball skills,
the tackling, the hitting,
dude, he is. I mean, we say it every time we bring him up, but his 24 tape was so amazing.
Yeah,
he just moved and had a fluidity about him that was another level. And he was able to turn that into somebody who could turn back and look for the ball and play it with ease. It just didn't look that difficult for him to play corner, which is maybe outside of like quarterback or something, the position that looks most difficult on tape for a lot of guys. And it's like, he's not even, I mean, dude, it doesn't even look like you're going 100%.
I mean, it is some of the best corner tape I've ever seen.
We did a podcast last year. We looked ahead and did a big board of the top 5, and I think I had McCoy at number 1.
Yeah, I think so.
I think I did.
I think it was a good take, honestly. Like, if he had played this year, that really might have. I wonder if we'd be talking about him at 2 if it wasn't for the ACL, really.
Yeah, definitely.
So I'm a huge fan. If that's who the Chiefs got or the Bengals got, whichever way you want to look at it, they'd be big time winners.
Yeah, we're doing the the Eli Manning thing where someone makes a pick and immediately gets traded. The draft and trade for no reason here.
Yes, of course.
But I guess that puts the Chiefs with McCoy, Bengals with Reese, and then Francis. Or I'm sorry, Blaiden. Who do you have?
Yes, we're talking about the Miami Dolphins next. They need a little bit of everything, it seems, but the first thing that they need is to talk about our good friends over at Quince. If you're trying to build a simple wardrobe, stuff that actually works together instead of random pieces that never match, a well-built wardrobe is really about clothes you can rely on year-round, and that's what Quince does best. Premium materials, thoughtful design, and everyday staples that are easy to wear, no matter the season. Quince has a ton of everyday essentials that just make sense. They've got organic cotton sweaters, polos you can wear basically anywhere, and lighter jackets that are perfect for when the weather can't really decide what it's doing. It's the kind of stuff you throw on without thinking about, and it still looks good. And what I really like is that they work directly with top factories and cut out middlemen. So you're not paying these crazy brand markups. You're just getting quality clothing that actually lasts. And everything's made to hold up. To everyday wear and still look good season after season. They also partner with factories that meet high standards for craftsmanship and ethical production, which is something you always like to see. So you can refresh your wardrobe today with Quince. You can go to quince.com/stayhot for free shipping on your order and 365 returns. That is now available in Canada too. QUINCE.com/stayhot. Free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/stayhot. And if you're like, hey, what about Jamar Chase? Doesn't he have a wardrobe that you can check out? That's right. He is Fat Athletics officially their first NFL ambassador. He just dropped his first collection, effortless tees, oversized hoodies, all the clean essentials that you can fit, that you can lift in or just throw on for a chill day fit. It's exactly what you'd expect from a wide receiver one. Simple, sharp, and built to perform. And look, I've got to say, the quality, it's going to surprise you. Fabletics pieces, they're going to feel like the kind of high-end activewear you'd easily pay a couple $100 for, but you're getting that same premium fit and durability for a fraction of the price. And the fit is dialed in too. Joggers that actually keep their shape, jackets that keep you warm without being bulky, everything soft, breathable, flexible. Looking at the site now, oversized hoodie from Jamar's Job. It is so clean. The neutral color, the minimal design looks like something you could wear, again, to a workout or just out and about. Plus, Fabletics has over 2 million VIP members and over 100 retail stores. So it's not just some random online brand. People genuinely trust it. Fabletics already has incredible deals, but we've got an exclusive one just for you here at Stay Hot. You can get 80% off of everything when you sign up as a VIP, including Jamar's first drop. So just head to fabletics.com/stayhot, take the quick style quiz, and be sure to select Stay Hot when prompted to unlock your 80% off. That's fabletics.com/stayhot. And the Miami Dolphins are going to take Francis Mauigoa. All right, we are going to get some offensive line on this Dolphins team. They have a lot of problems. They could take a receiver. They could take offensive line. They could take defense. They probably should take defense. I thought a lot about taking a defender here. I think David Bailey would be a fine pick. I think Peter Woods would be a fine pick. But to me, they made the move for Malik Willis. The least they could do is give him something to work with. And I think a powerful offensive lineman would be a very good addition. The one concern I do have is like some of the lateral quickness against speed rushers. But he seems to have enough power that if someone gets by him, he can just absolutely shove them so hard that they just fly past the QB and don't really have a chance to make a play. So he's really good at pushing people up the arc. But yeah, I think this would be a good landing spot for him here in Miami. And he doesn't have to move. He can just stay home.
Yeah. And I mean, with Tua gone or Mike McDaniel, we'll see which one was more the culprit, or I guess no matter which one was the culprit, they're probably going to be holding the ball a lot longer with Malik Willis, and having the worst guard duo in the league won't really fly as much maybe anymore.
Yeah. And Maui Noah is a versatile player. He can kind of, he could slot in at tackle or guard or kind of.
Yeah. I think he could be a pretty incredible guard. I mean, you see some of these guards who switch to tackle, like Tyler Smith has done that, and Joe Tooney. They're protector of the year caliber guards, right? But at tackle, sometimes they lack the movement skills and lack the range, but they're all pro guards. I feel like that could be Maui Noah. Like, he's so good at just vacuum sealing the little creases so you can't split his doubles and moving people downfield. Like, the idea of him always being able to work in tandem with another offensive lineman is like really intriguing to me. So if the Dolphins were to take him and make him a guard, I'd say that's not the sexiest selection always. But I'd say this is a bit late for
it's the first offensive lineman off the board.
And I'd say it's a great pick. It's like a total slam dunk pick if they get him.
He's got such strong hands, dude. Like, they need someone who can just latch on. So yeah, that brings it back to you, Matt, for Dallas.
David Bailey, I think. We know he's going to go pretty high, and I think it's valid to have some concerns about his bend and how his game translates and maybe what he'll be as a run defender. And maybe that does scare a Cowboys team that is very, very concerned about their run defense recently. But I'm also concerned about their pass rush. I think he's far and away right now listed as edge 2, and on a lot of people's boards, edge 1. I still think he's my edge 2 from when we talked about them a while ago. But I think Dallas is going to be pretty locked into defense, and with both the top corners gone and both the top linebackers gone, I think Bailey is a very, very likely selection here.
Yeah, at some point you can have concern about the stiffness. You should have concern about the stiffness, but at some point you got to look at the statistics, and you got to think, like, is that first step and the speed and power off that first step going to be good enough for him to be really special? Like, this is production that you just don't see coming out of college a lot. And look, Khalil Mack was 250 coming out of college and then put on weight. Max Crosby was like 250 coming out of college and then put on weight. Like, can that be in the future for Bailey, where you just keeps kind of adding weight, and just cooking people with the speed to power and the spin? Or is it that he, against tackles with range, he just doesn't have an answer? He's going to be very fascinating to track over the course of his career in the league. And the Cowboys are in a position where they kind of need to take that chance because they traded Parsons away. So,
right.
Yeah.
And they have 2 firsts, so maybe they take 2 edge rushers. Who knows?
I don't think they need 2. They need secondary at some point, because they did get Quinnen Williams. So he does do a lot of heavy lifting because he's very good. But yeah, I think if Bailey fell this far, they would take him.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm up next with the Rams.
Yes.
Looking at the Rams, it's a very complete roster. Obviously, they've got 3 safeties that they like. I thought for sure a corner was a lock for them, but then they spend huge on 2 cornerbacks. They got a young front 4 on defense. They got obviously a quarterback and a receiver duo and a running back duo and a bunch of tight ends that you like. So I'm going to go with just trenches. I'm just going to say, look, everything is looking poised for a Super Bowl run. Just protect Stafford, who isn't as good at maybe avoiding pressure as he used to be. And like, let's just make sure that he's upright to take advantage of this opportunity. So I'm going to take Vega Ione from Penn State, the guard.
I think it's an interesting one. I think he's a very good player. But you think they're going to spend the 13 overall on a guy who, I mean, do you think they're going to start him year one?
Yeah. I would probably move Avila into center where he played at TCU and then start Vega Ione at guard. It was kind of my thinking. I'm down for another suggestion. I just feel like they've done a lot to fill out their roster. And in this mock draft where the offensive line talent is kind of getting pushed down the board, they might just take advantage of that.
Yeah, I could see that. Receiver also kind of jumps out at me here with Tyson.
I kind of think they might go Tyson here. I agree.
But they like they're 12 and 13 so much. And they just re-signed Higbee. So they've got Ferguson, Higbee. They've got Parkinson. Like, are they going to really spend... DA only has 1 year left on his deal.
Yeah, so, you could also take a tight end, like if you wanted to bring in another.
I don't see that. They have so many tight ends.
They do.
They could go with Sadiq.
They spent big on Ferguson last year as well.
Yeah. Ferguson is Sadiq to me, like for them at least, like seam stretcher, slot fade, contested catch guy. Well, Higbee and
I don't think them going receiver
the
would be crazy. Adams is really old, and
yeah, I guess.
And if Puka gets into like stand-up comedy or something, you're gonna need
stand-up comedy
extra guys
or prison
stand-up comedy. He might get into. He's gonna be the new. Who's that guy who resigned? The counterterrorism leader resigned. Puka Nacua might be getting eyed with his behavior recently.
He's gonna be working for the FBI.
Seems like a good fit. He's going to be the counterterrorism director.
He's joining the war on terrorism on the side of the terrorist man.
Actually, he can't because he's actually kind of the opposite. Yeah.
He's busy with the Rams. It'd be tough for him to take
yeah, right. He'd be busy with the Rams.
Of course.
Sort of like a Bo Jackson situation, but
yeah. Anyway, yeah, I think I definitely could see a Tyson pick. The logic would make a lot of sense. Like, yeah, Adams is old. Our wide receiver 3, Whittington is
and I'd be running a lot more 11 if I had Tyson.
Tyson, hell yeah.
I guess they just have so many tight ends. Like, don't they want to be out there in 13 and run duo all day? That's what I thought.
I mean, look, we can't take Jordan Tyson because of Ferguson. Look, Ferguson is deep on my dynasty bench. No disrespect, but
like they can. I just wonder if that's the way they want to play.
I don't know. I really think like between them, like not necessarily being able to take any one specific thing where they have like a drastic need at, and the fact that like honestly, not only is one of their star wide receivers like pretty old, but he's had injury issues, and Puka has a little bit of an injury history. I mean, I guess you're adding another guy with an injury history, but then you've got, then you're like, in a game we're rolling 2 out of 3. We're cool.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they run so much of this stuff that it doesn't even make sense to do it with Adams and Puka because you're taking one of them off the field, and they still do it. And they're going to be 3 deep at receiver. I just don't know. So I'm going offensive line. And I'm letting. I love Tyson. Obviously, I'm down to take Tyson. I'm down to take Tyson instead of Mendoza first overall, man. If it's up to me. But
Theo, you're not gonna take Tyson, and that's okay because the Ravens are gonna take it with their next pick. right? Because they always do this. They take the falling superstar player. And if Tyson is the receiver that falls out of the top 10, he's going to end up in Baltimore.
That is true. That is what happens.
That's exactly what happens. And I've kind of like fallen on this realization that I don't know if the Ravens are actually good at drafting. I think they just get lucky every year.
A lucky shot from a bum.
A lucky shot from a bum. Browns fan, by the way.
Travis Jones in the 4th round. Lucky shot by a bum.
Kyle Hamilton. Lucky shot. Yeah, there's
What's he
lucky
better at?
that the best player in the draft fell to the
Basketball, checkers, football, baseball.
Yeah, but if Tyson if Tyson's here, what pick is this? 14?
Yeah.
To me, that's a home run for Baltimore to get this kind of a playmaker at the catch point. Just kind of an acrobat in the air to contort his body and make plays. That's someone that Lamar Jackson would absolutely love to have, especially no Likely anymore. Like, they're going to need that extra receiving threat. So I think
no Ricard. What are they going to do?
No Pat Ricard. It's over, dude.
They need Tyson. They actually have to throw the ball. It's time to be a quarterback, Lamar. I know you're shaking. You can't just run behind Pat Ricard anymore.
Run. Of course. Another run.
Lamar Jackson, another rush. They're going to give him Tyson instead of a fullback, and he's not going to know what to do.
Facts. But, Matt, Buccaneers here. What are you going to do?
Mm-hmm. Well, edge rusher is one of their big needs, but I don't know. I've only felt worse and worse about the edge rusher class as the draft cycle has gone on.
Sure.
I know they need pass rush. So I'm going to go Peter Woods, maybe. I think that he's got some upside as a pass rusher. Kalijah Cansey is yet to break out in a major way, so I think Woods could fit next to Villa. But I think corner would be available for him. Terrell wouldn't be crazy. Maybe with Evans, I don't think they're going to go receiver, but it wouldn't be unthinkable. They could go with one of these offensive linemen as well. I think they got a lot of options, but Woods is my defensive tackle one. And if they need some pass rush, I think he could provide that. Although maybe you feel like you need it now, and Woods is a little bit more of a developmental guy.
Maybe. I mean, Levante David retiring, I feel like kind of puts them in a bit of a pickle. Like, he was still a really good player.
He was okay. He was okay at the end.
Would you rather have Levante David or Bobby Wagner right now?
It's close. They were.
I'm
close
taking Levante David pretty easily. I feel like
they are in a pickle. They are in a pickle with the linebacker, but they just were before Levante retired.
Sure.
Like Servace.
But now it's like urgent, dude.
But what linebacker are you gonna take up here? Like Rodriguez? It'd be really high.
Yeah,
I like him though.
Yeah, I like him and Allen a decent amount, but I like this Woods pick. I like this Woods pick. The more I think about it, the more I like it. I mean, Vea is getting up there in terms of age and offers you really nothing as a pass rusher.
He's a different type of player.
Right, he's a different type of player. He's a nose tackle. And Kalijah Cansey is really good, but he's only played 57% of his available games since he got drafted, which is just way too low and tough to really count on going forward. And, I mean, as long as Bowles is around, they run bare. I mean, they got to replace Logan Hall, and they'll blitz, and they'll have a body over each offensive lineman. And if there is a world where they have Woods and Cansey and Vea all next to each other, like, yeah, Woods is an insurance policy for those guys in case Vea falls off or Cansey gets hurt, but also all together, like, that could be really, really high octane in a scheme that could get them all on the field. And Woods, I came around a little bit on Woods. We talked about him on that podcast, and I was like, I just don't know what to make of him. And I still kind of don't, but I think like he's got the juice.
He needs to put on
rusher.
20 or 30 pounds. I do.
Not 20 or 30, man. 20 or 30 is a ton.
Not really. I mean, he reportedly weighed 230 or 330. I keep saying 230.
Didn't he weigh in? I think he weighed in like 300 flat almost.
298. I want him at 320 minimum.
Yeah, Yeah, I mean, he's such a good stack and shed guy with a little bit more weight. You think about how elite he could be at the NFL level.
Yeah.
But that's just a lot of weight. I don't know if he was ever actually weighed that much. But I got the Jets pick.
Yeah.
I talked about him last episode. I'm going to go with my guy, Denzel Boston, here at wide receiver. They need a receiver. I don't think they can go quarterback here. I know many will be clamoring for Ty Simpson to get in just to get somebody there.
He'll be there.
But
he'll be there in the second. You can get him.
I just don't think you need to do that when there are other players on the board. But it does suck that they can't take a quarterback, right? Like that is very unfortunate. So how are you gonna conjure quarterback play out of this roster when you can't take a quarterback? I feel like, well, take a wide receiver. And to me, Denzel Boston is the best on the board. I think he's huge with an amazing catch radius and also somebody who can separate at an underrated level for someone that size to be able to kind of wiggle like he can and push off contact like he can. I think that he's a hell of a lot of a better option than Arian Smith and the TikTok route artist that they've got, Mitchell.
TikTok route artist. Yeah, that's the thing is you look at like Garrett Wilson's obviously a really good player and a really good receiver, but you watch AD Mitchell and you're like, well, that's a total project. And they need someone who I feel like, especially watching Geno Smith last year, he really just wants to just give his receivers a chance.
Yeah.
Right. He was just letting it fly in a lot of those games. And Denzel Boston's I think the exact type of guy that you want that kind of quarterback for. So yeah, I think this is actually a really good scheme fit, even though I'm a little bit lower on Boston.
I expect them to go with a wide receiver too. So if we're trying to like play that in between like what we would do and what we think is realistic, I think Boston makes a lot of sense here. And if the Geno stuff, like let's say Geno doesn't turn back into a franchise quarterback sitting next year looking for a QB.
Hypothetically, of course.
Like you would feel you're not that far off if you're New York with the current core.
Yeah, and if you really need a quarterback, like I just really think, like you said, Blaiden, like if you don't take Simpson, there is a very real chance that he's there for you in the second round if you love him. Or you could trade up in the second round. You have so many assets, and you could get him at like 31 or something.
Because apparently, according to Orlovsky, half the league thinks that he's quarterback one or 12.
I don't believe Orlovsky.
Do you think he's? This is my question about the whole thing. It's like, okay, so people are saying he's part of the same agency, and maybe he's like, conflict of interest wants to gas him up. Totally realistic. I think guys probably do that stuff all the time. Do you think that he is just straight up lying about GMs being like he's just completely fabricating that? Because that's what you would have to be saying at that point.
I think he's exaggerating it insanely. I don't think he's talked to 15 GMs. I think that maybe he was in Indianapolis and talked to some scouts and maybe talked about like, oh, do you like Simpson? Or talked about his own arguments about it. And the guys kind of agreed. And now he's out there saying half the GMs have. But is that really what they said? Is that really what they told you? Did they really tell you accurate information? I'm just not sure that I buy that there's like a 50-50 chance that the Raiders like Simpson over Mendoza. Or maybe the line is like, well, because everybody knows Mendoza is going to be gone, right? Everybody knows Mendoza is going to be gone after one. Are we hearing the line like, yeah, well, there's a chance Simpson is better. There's a chance he has more, he has more in-breaking throws on tape. He gets through reads more than him. Like they're kind of saying the line that Orlovsky wants to hear, but is that they straight up tell him? Did half the league's GM straight up tell him that they have Simpson ranked above Mendoza on the board? I just don't believe that they said it in those plain of words. I think Orlovsky has this take and he's kind of appealing to authority with maybe some things that he heard, but I just don't think he could know that. I just don't think that he could know that. So, but maybe he is. Maybe that's fine. And maybe Simpson does go really high. It would surprise me a little bit. And my just personal evaluation, which is what
I think that's totally fair. Yeah. I think a lot of Jets fans are expecting it, and I think the Jets have set themselves up in a way where they're not going to go quarterback, and they're going to have a lot of assets next year.
Exactly. I think they've set themselves. Yeah, exactly. I think they've set themselves up to have ammo.
And
in
if they don't get Simpson, someone takes him. I think you are better off for it.
Yeah, and yeah, again, you can take him, but like, what if they trade with the Patriots at pick 31 and they control his 5th-year option and they get him at the end? You see that occasionally with these quarterbacks. I could see something like that. I could see them taking Klubnik. I could see them taking Beck. I could see them taking somebody later, in that second round and rolling with like that method, like Shuck, right? Shuck didn't go. I'm sure a lot of GMs like Shuck. I'm sure the Saints had a first round grade on Shuck, but they took him at 40. They didn't
take him at 9. That's a good point.
They didn't take him at 9, right? They didn't say, "Oh, well, we like Shuck. We think he can be our franchise quarterback. We have to take him at 9 because he's the quarterback." They took Banks, and that was the right idea because you can get Shuck later. Maybe Simpson is Bo Nix because that was, or JJ McCarthy because that was the draft where we thought, well, is Penix and Nix and all these guys really going to go crazy high? And then they all did.
All did, right.
But that's not what always happens. Like that.
That's true.
I just don't think
the first
Simpson
time that had happened in like 30 years. Right.
I just don't think Simpson has the pocket poise that teams are going to like really fall in love with. I don't think he has the traits. He fumbled so much. He faded down the stretch. Like, I get that he has some dig throws, but like, dude, man, like, okay, like he made that throw. That's nice, but he also fumbled 5 games in a row and doubles back when the pocket's clean, and there's all these issues, and all of his deep balls were incomplete. Like, I get, yeah, he hit Bernard on some inbreakers. Maybe that's all you want. Maybe that's all you want him to do, and you think he can be Brock Purdy or Jared Goff
Kyle
or something.
Shanahan is licking his chops.
I don't know. And like I said, like I've repeated myself a million times now, taking Boston here does not mean you can not get Simpson later if you're the Jets. So
true.
I'm taking Boston. Blaiden, you're on the clock with the Lions.
Yes, I'm sitting here with the Detroit Lions, and I keep going back and forth on what I actually want for them. And even though, like, yeah, you could bet out the defense a little bit more, could possibly go, with the corner. You could, add some things to maybe this receiving room, but I really think the biggest addition you could make is to this offensive line. We saw this offense take a pretty big step back after Ragnow left. In the past, I've said that maybe they should take Connor Liu, because I think he's a really good center in this class, but I'm going to take one of the freakiest athletes in Monroe Freeling out of Georgia. Just such a rare body type and a rare athlete. We obviously saw that at the combine. 6'7", 34-inch arms, and just like so much speed and power, athleticism. I think obviously as a pass protector, he can be a good addition for them. But I'm really hoping that the run game can take a big step with that kind of length and power as well. So,
yeah, they definitely need an offensive lineman with Taylor Decker leaving. I'm not seeing him on the depth chart anymore, right? They
like requested to be released.
Yeah,
I don't think I've ever heard of that before.
You never heard of
request? I've heard of like requesting a trade, but like, or I guess it's like, or just cut me, but like.
It was kind of a funny saga because it was, is he going to retire or not? He's had all these banged up injuries. Right. Like I thought a left tackle would be a good pick before they cut him, but then he posted like, I'm back, and everyone, all the Lions accounts I follow were like, oh, like, hell yeah, he didn't retire on us like Ragnow, and then they cut him because he wanted too much money.
Sure.
But yeah, they definitely need a left tackle, and Goff is one of the main guys when it comes to differences between him under pressure and not under pressure. So definitely would love a blindside pass protector that's a Hulk like Monroe Freeling.
Yeah, dude.
He could go probably a lot earlier than this in the real draft because of his traits, but it also could go exactly like this.
Because he is kind of like inexperienced. Compared to a lot of the other guys here, right? So, and we got a late start on the offensive lineman. So maybe that's our own fault, and we're trying to make up for it now. But Freeling to the Lions. Matt, what do you want to do for Minnesota?
I went Dylan Thieneman here. He's really risen up draft boards, somebody who's clearly super fluid, really rangy. I think has pretty decent instincts for the position, which I think are probably more important for safety than just being a straight up athlete. But being able to move like he does doesn't hurt. I could also see him going Caden McDonald here. That would be a pretty solid pick for the trenches, but I wonder if they like those, more pass rush centric defensive linemen, obviously, that they value. And Emmanuel McNeil Warren is also another guy that I think could very easily be in play here for 18. So if I'm the Vikings, I'm sitting here, I feel like I have some really good options, but somebody with the range that Thieneman has probably is the most exciting and could be used in a lot of different ways. I think he's pretty decent at being aggressive going downhill. I agree with some of the negatives that people have brought up with like him overrunning stuff from what I've seen on tape, but I think overall he's somebody who's very willing to get downhill and isn't passive, and I would take cleaning up an aggressive guy with his physical attributes maybe over trying to make it work with somebody who doesn't have that.
The Vikings used to have a guy named Paul Krause. He's the all-time turnover leaders by like a mile. And he was just a true free safety, like lining up off the screen type free safety. And he played behind the purple people eaters, and he just got a million picks. And maybe that can be Thieneman, like behind the Flores blitzes, like just stand way out there and just fly downhill and get interceptions because he's got crazy speed and crazy production on the ball at Oregon. So maybe he could be their new. They just always have some safety that's getting picks, man, whether it be Krause or Harrison Smith or maybe Thieneman. It feels like a Vikings pick. Yeah, I got your Panthers, Matt. And your Panthers are kind of a complete roster is kind of what I noticed going through things.
It's kind of Rams-esque.
It is kind of Rams-esque. In fact, it's even more complete than the Rams in a certain way, I'd say, because they have...
You're spitting, man.
They have 14 people making over $20 million total on their contract. And the next team that I'm picking for is the Chargers. I looked that up. They've got 6. So there's just a lot of established starters, I feel like, that you can't really unseat in Carolina. The ones who aren't are like Mike Jackson, but you're not replacing Mike Jackson because he's a great corner too. You could go with a safety, Latham Ransom, but I like Latham Ransom. I think he really flashed, and now Downs and Thieneman are off the board. You could go with Wallace. Replace Wallace next to Lloyd and get another linebacker next to Lloyd. But Wallace is still kind of young and up and coming and still kind of a mystery box. And then my eyes travel down to the offense, and I look at Tommy Tremble and I look at Xavier Legette as kind of open competition. And I think, why don't we kind of eliminate maybe 2 birds with 1 stone here and take someone like Kenyon Sadiq, who is a tight end, right? But he is a vertical threat. He's someone who can get downfield. He ran obviously one of the fastest tight end times in the history of the combine. I think for Panthers fans, maybe parting with this tight end room would be like taking a ratty old toy away from a dog. Oh, I like Mitchell Evans. I like Tommy Tremble. I like JT Sanders.
I like
Sanders.
Tremble, man.
I like Mitchell Evans. Like, we don't need a tight end. We're
Your
good
Panthers
over here.
Analysis when you were saying all their players was good was a lot better than when you were making fun of a lot of their players.
I'm sorry. But I just think like there are a lot of useful people in this tight end room, including Felipe Franks now. But none of them have really shown themselves to be stars. And you can still have them in line and then kind of split. You can split Sadiq out and play 12, and he can kind of replace Legette if you like the tight ends more than you like Legette. So I'm going with Kenyon Sadiq. They really need a center too, is what they need even more than those things. But I just don't think taking a center right now over Sadiq is particularly likely. So I'm going with Sadiq for the Panthers, Matt. Is that okay?
I think that is okay. There's another pick that I'm warming up to a little bit more. I don't think their whole tight end room is quite as bad as you're letting on, but
it's not bad. It's just like I said, it's
like Tommy Trimble is just like kind of a role player who's I think good
right.
as a blocker, and Evans I think was good for what he was last year and was a day 3 pick or whatever, but certainly like that receiving heavy tight end, with Sanders, I think is a position that they could upgrade with. And Sadiq is somebody that I think has a number of big strengths. Like we've talked about him before on the tight end episodes. I wonder if he's really going to be somebody who can run the full route tree and who can get in and out of his breaks if he's fluid enough to do that. And I wonder if he's big enough to be a full-time, like inline guy, but he's clearly got some serious blocking prowess out in space. I think he's got great hands. I think he's clearly going to be physically tough to deal with for a lot of these guys. So there's a lot of positives there.
Yeah. And I just don't know who else to take right here. Like maybe Omar Cooper. Receiver. Omar Cooper.
Yeah,
you could probably
wouldn't mind Omar Cooper. I wouldn't mind another receiver. Would be totally possible. I don't think that they've got a third guy really locked down, but they're a team that also likes to put multiple tight ends on the field. So maybe they say we want to add another weapon, but we want to put tight ends on the field. Can you?
Yeah, City kind of is another receiver, but yeah, I could see them going that. But there's not a ton of directions I think they can go with this pick. I think receiver. I think receiver is kind of what they got to do. Honestly, unless they take Lou, they could go. Yeah,
they could go linebacker.
Yeah, I guess I mentioned
they could go defensive line.
All right.
In theory, they.
I agree. They could. It's possible.
What if?
I have done no kicker scouting. I have no idea what kickers are coming up. I got to lock in on that.
There might be a first round caliber kicker, and we don't even
probably
know.
Not.
But we don't know.
If there was, we would know about it. I guess that's true. I'm talking out of my ass. But McDonald would not be a bad pick here, I'll say. Warren would not be a bad pick. Sadiq is cool. I think one of the receivers would be cool as well. There's a number of guys I could get down with, but Sadiq is a very common mock. Tight end has not been a super big, strong suit probably since good old Greg Olsen started.
Good old Greg. Third leg Greg. Shout out to him. Blaiden, you're up with the Cowboys.
How about them boys, man? The Cowboys. We talked about all the things they could do on their defense, maybe some secondary, maybe some defensive line help, to really bolster this pass rush even more. This is a place where I thought about McDonald as well, just because I'm looking, I'm like, dude, imagine Quinnen Williams, Kenny Clark, and Caden McDonald all next to each other here. But I decided that I wanted to add Spencer Fano to this offensive line, get some really nice quickness. Like he has really, really nice agility and foot speed for a guy of his size. And so I really like what you could get from him on possibly moving him to the interior instead of lined up at tackle. Obviously, people are concerned about the arm length stuff, and I don't think it's that big of an issue. He was my tackle 1 for a while. I'm a little bit lower now, but it's not because of his arm length. I just don't think he quite has enough power, as much power as I thought he did initially. So, but I love his quickness, and I think that gives him a lot of range to kind of slot anywhere on this offensive line for Dallas.
I really don't love Cooper Beebe at center for them, but I think for Fano to be the selection here, you're saying you are playing center. You're playing center. Guyton, Smith, Fano, Booker, and Steele is our.
That was kind of I'm like, is it gonna be Fano at center, or
I think if he goes to Dallas, I think he has to be, and I think he did those workouts at the combine, and he is so quick with shorter arms that you think about like, oh, could he be a Brewer? Could he be a Jason Kelsey? Does he have that type of upside at that position? And yeah, that would be huge for the Cowboys. But I also think for them, it's a bit of a projection for the first round when they literally had the worst pass defense of like the decade so far, of the 2020s. This Cowboys
I have a
team.
higher grade on Fano than any of like the remaining DBs on the board.
Yeah, I could see it. I think for them, I would really be like, give me Terrell or give me McNeil.
Yeah, Terrell is really good. I like Terrell a lot. And maybe that would be a better fit, because I did think about like Terrell could have been a nice pick here. And I thought about, again, McDonald and, just really making this defensive line like the scariest in football. But yeah, I don't know. I can see the logic of a corner could have been nice here, but I'm sticking with Fano.
Yeah, I mean, if he could play center, if he works out at center and they really like him there, Cooper Beebe really is like not strong or fast.
Here's the thing. Do you know how many times I've had to be like, oh, dude, Connor Lew would be perfect here, and not pick him? Because
you're crazy about Connor Lew.
Dude, he's the GOAT, bro. I swear. The more I watch him, the more I'm convinced.
I'm gonna have to watch Connor Lew because I haven't worked through all the centers yet, but he's like a mythical creature to me at this point.
He is, bro. He is a mythical creature. He's goated with the sauce, but he plays center and he's coming off an injury, so people don't like him.
Matt, the Steelers.
I went Omar Cooper here. I know that they addressed receiver with Pittman, but I still feel like they could use another guy. Now, part of it here is that I'm just not like, I don't know. I think Metcalf and
Pittman.
Pittman. Yeah. Metcalf and Pittman are maybe a little bit of like overlapping skill set, these like really big body receivers. And I maybe want somebody who can fit into the slot there and be a little bit more of like a quick timing, underneath target for them to go and hit, someone who can be easier to get the ball to. And I don't know if easy to get the ball to is really the word I'm looking for, but like a reliable underneath target, somebody who can do a lot after the catch, and
someone who can juke
on those. Yeah, someone on those quick, a little bit more agile.
They haven't had that since Antonio Brown.
I think that would really round out their receiver room, and I think Cooper's a guy that I had a first round grade on. I think they've got a spot to play him, and they could go tackle here. That's another option for them. They could do a lot of different things, but I lean towards Cooper.
If Kyle Shanahan's theory that a wide receiver room should look like a basketball team is true, the Steelers would be cooking. Like they could maybe get a tournament win with DK, Washington, Omar Cooper, and Pittman. Like that's like your guard is Omar Cooper. You got your center, Washington. You got your slashing power forward who can finish lobs and DK, and then maybe you have your just like corner three, get to a spot, shoot guy in Pittman. Like we need one more. We need a shooting guard, maybe the point guard, or maybe Pittman's the point guard and they need a catch and shoot guy. I don't know, but we're like 4/5 of the way there with a starting lineup with those four guys for the Steelers. So I like it. I've got the Chargers up next. Wait, Blaiden, what were you
I was going to ask, did safety cross your mind at all, Matt?
Yeah, I think that would be fair. McNeil Warren would be a good selection here too.
Yeah, I like wide receiver a little bit more for them. Maybe I like.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I feel like I might be higher on Michael Pittman than a lot of people, just because I feel like you should be high on Michael Pittman, Theo, because you're high on Boston.
He's Pittman's all right, but I think they need somebody who's a little bit better at creating separation.
They do. So yeah, I definitely see it. I'm just thinking like the kind of move they did to get off of Fitzpatrick and bring in Ramsey, and the kind of finagling they were trying to do at safety last year just didn't feel like a real plan. And I would like for them
Yeah, it
to
didn't
have
work.
it just didn't work. Yeah. I'm trying to be nice, man. But yeah, so I think having like a real plan at safety could be nice.
They signed a safety. They signed Deshaun Elliott.
They do have Deshaun Elliott. I don't know how you feel,
but
it's fine.
Yeah, I could see safety, but safety is pretty tough with Downs and Dieneman off the board.
Oh, they also have Darnell Savage, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank God.
Yeah, that's actually a great reason to pick a safety. I got the Chargers up next, who are kind of the opposite of the Panthers in that they only have 6 players making $20 million on their contract. Like, it's unbelievable how cheap they are. It was the first thing that I kind of noticed when I was going over their roster, and which kind of makes this pick, like, it could be anything. Like, it could truly be anything. There's not a lot of sunk cost fallacy, like I mentioned earlier in the episode. And Matt, they haven't built Matt's desk and spent 3 hours on it. They can go in any kind of direction. But I'm still looking at pass protection. Like, that's the main thing. I'm very fascinated to see if that's something they actually end up prioritizing in the draft, as much as maybe the need seems like it is, because of McDonald making an appearance here at offensive coordinator. Is he going to be Justin Herbert, you're going to catch the ball and hit the dig, and it's just going to be faster and more accurate type deal? Or is was he just playing that way because of Tua, and this is still going to be kind of the power run, play action, let Herbert really air it out deep type of thing? I'm fascinated to see how those two skill sets overlap. I am of the opinion that they got away with the guard duo that they did and kind of the offensive line investments that they did in starting Eichenberg for so long, because Tua was the quarterback, and Tua cannot hold the ball for a long time because he's not a scrambler. So that's why he was throwing it quickly. Like, they had Tyreek Hill, they had Jalen Waddle, they had Tua. That's why McDaniel had the offense that he did, was those skill sets. And with Herbert and Quentin Johnston and Ladd, like, it's just not going to look the same. So I'm not going to be scared to go with Pregnon here from Oregon, the guard. Somebody who is just a mammoth human being, will frame mog anybody. I think he moves really well, redirects really well for anybody. And that combined with his side, I think gives him really high upside, especially as a pass protector for Herbert. I know, Matt, you mentioned he's a bit of an older prospect, which I didn't know when I first watched him. He's a 25-year-old guard. So
he's
24-year-old guard, still a little not your ideal first round selection, but man, when you watch him move around, I think he's a bit of an alien. I think he could be one of the better players, honestly, in this draft. He's someone that I'm super, super high on, and
I think he fits what McDonald will want to do as well, and they really, really need guard. I don't think it's a bad selection.
No, Strange and Penning are their guards. Like, yeah, they need a guard.
He could be 30, bro.
He could be 30. It's okay. Who did I just find that was a 24-year-old rookie? And I was like, well, that's why you...
It's okay, here, totally unrelated. Here's a question I was thinking of that I meant to ask on Twitter. Yeah. What is the craziest draft reach on the night of the draft?
Cleveland Farrell.
Cleveland Farrell.
Over Cole Strange, you think?
Cole Strange was pretty wild, but Cleveland Farrell being the fourth, like, it just matters more when it's a tough
I feel like... Yeah.
Cleveland Farrell would be taking, like, Myzador if you're, like, the Titans instead of Jeremiah Love or whoever, like Carnell Tate. Like, I just would be like, what?
My recall on this type of stuff, I feel like, is not that great. So I'd love to hear in the comments if anybody has any suggestions for what.
The craziest reach ever.
Like, it has to be on draft night, though. I don't want to hear Jamarcus Russell. Right.
Yeah.
Because I remember Cole Strange was pretty crazy, but it was at the very end of the first. He was like pick 30, right?
Yeah, it was in the late 20s, I think, or 30 or something like that. But it definitely was like no one had ever heard of him. And at least people knew Cleveland Farrell, but I still feel like those Mike Mayock Raiders teams were unmatched in making picks that made everybody just go, what? They had a couple, like Leatherwood, right, from Alabama was like an all-time reach and bust. And then they took the Ohio State corner. They went Damon Arnett,
which was crazy.
Ooh, that was nuts.
So they were just on a heater in terms of shooting bricks from half court. And I think Cleveland Farrell is probably the biggest example of that.
Yeah.
He had the best career out of the three I just named, but I also think he's the most shocking reach. Maybe not, though.
I thought
anyway,
shocking.
Blaiden, you're up next with the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yeah, and I'm going to give the Eagles the biggest offensive line of all time. Just massive bodies all lined up next to each other. Think of like the inverse purple people eaters. We're going to have a wall of green, all right, in Philly. You're going to have Jordan Mailata and next to him, either at tackle or like one of them's going to play guard probably. But right next to him, you're going to have Caden Proctor. And that shit's going to kick so much ass. I know people are lower on Proctor now. Like, I get it. But he is still a mammoth. You talk about frame mogging. The only person who Pregnon might not be able to frame mog is Caden Proctor. Right? I mean, just an absolute mammoth of a human being. Tons of power in his hands. Tons of just overall strength. And so we've already seen what they were able to do with Mailata. They've been able to try to transform these raw offensive line prospects before. They do have a new offensive line coach, so maybe it'll be a little bit different this time around. But I think you have to trust in this sort of development process they have in Philly.
Yeah, I like it. Lane Johnson, very old, and Philly just seems like the spot where, like, maybe it's different now with Stoutland gone, but Philly does feel like the spot to take somebody like Proctor and try to develop them. Like, they really do.
Right.
Okay. I'm looking at the consensus big board from 2019.
Okay.
Right. So it went Kyler, Bosa, Quinn, and Williams in the top three. And those were the top three on the consensus big board.
Okay.
Farrell was 19, which is pretty big reach. But you have to consider the other defensive linemen who were ranked ahead of him, which was Josh Allen, Ed Oliver, Montez Sweat, Rashawn Gary, Brian Burns, and Christian Wilkins. Also considered first-round defensive linemen were Dexter Lawrence, Jeffrey Simmons, and then at 32, Jerry Tillery.
Holy cow. Like,
Probably every other defensive lineman outside of Tillery was like a pretty big hit.
Oh, yeah.
Anyone else,
like a double-digit sack guy. Even the defensive tackles are like double-digit sack guys. There's probably $1 billion worth of contracts handed out to the linemen taken. Not even Bosa and Quinnen, like
the
all the linemen available.
The other first round, I mean, you could probably just look at the actual draft because I was just saying on the consensus board.
Sure.
But I'm sure that if you look at the first round guys taken after Farrell, which is Allen, Oliver, Gary, Wilkins, Burns, Dexter Lawrence, Jeffrey Simmons,
that's nuts.
Montez Sweat, and LJ Collier. So, okay. There's still one whiff and it stops it from being like a perfect
that was also
list,
a reach,
like,
though. The Collier was also a reach by the Seahawks. Like,
but like regardless, I mean, it's like everyone else you could have taken was sweet, and
you took
it's a bad one in hindsight.
Yeah, that's awful. That's awful. I guess I didn't remember that all those guys were right after.
I didn't either.
Oh, that's tough.
So,
but
Raiders
Matt,
fans, if you're listening to this. Sorry.
Well, you got Mendoza now, who
facts, bro,
will save you. Matt, you're on the clock with the Brown.
I went hit Chinador. I went
from ASU
with this pick. Yeah, from ASU. Offensive line is going to be a big need for them. Tackle is going to be a big need for them long term. And he's somebody who really impressed at the Senior Bowl. Clearly is the level of athlete that can hang at the NFL. He's got unbelievably quick feet. He tested really well. He's got really good length. He's a little bit more of a project. The hand placement might not be like the most consistent ever yet, but when I feel like you've already got a lot of your offensive linemen set and maybe you can give him a little bit of time to work his way either into the lineup or just, there's not going to be like crazy pressure on him from the get-go if you've got a lot of other options. He's somebody that I think would be very worthy of taking a shot on here. You could also go like Blake Miller, would be another possibility.
Yeah, I think the way the board has fallen, this is a good selection here for sure.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned Blake Miller. I think that is what I'm going to do next for the Bears.
Well, Theo, before you talk about Blake Miller, I want to hear about our good friends that are giving us this glorious spark energy, because you wake up super early now.
I do wake up super early now. I'm on that 4:30 a.m. grind,
which is insane.
Buzzing wristwatch, and that's how I'm able to analyze the flag football tournament on TikTok and deliver this perfect mock draft and be so awake while doing it. And yeah, Spark Advocate's Spark product is how I get that done. They sent me some. They got peach, they got fruit punch, they got like all kinds of delicious flavors that I just crack open, pour in some water, and drink first thing in the morning. And I'm super productive before the birds even start chirping.
What time do the birds start chirping?
The birds start chirping at like 6. The birds start chirping at like basically at dusk, or at dawn, that is.
Okay.
But there's all kinds of stuff, good stuff in Spark. We got 120 milligrams of caffeine. So it promotes alertness, concentration. It gives you sustained energy, but it also doesn't make me feel like I'm going to throw up and, my body is shaking, which is what happens to me when I have a coffee that's too big. It's got amino acids. It's got vitamins B, C, A, E, which coffee certainly does not have. Coffee just makes your teeth yellow. And bold, great tasting flavors that you'll actually look forward to drinking. It's really a great deal. It has transformed my mornings. And Spark Energy and Focus is offering a 30% off discount with free shipping. That's free shipping. That's something that gets me. And free shipping, I go to Depop. Something looks cheap, but then I know there's like a $15 shipping card. I'd buy so much if I got free shipping.
That's how it is buying like guitar pedals. I find something like used on eBay or Reverb, and it's like, oh, thank God, it's $70. This pedal's normally $120. Nope. It's in Japan. It's $150 to ship it. All right, dude.
No, it's not 30% off with free shipping like Spark. So go to drinkspark.com and use code STAYHOT at checkout. That's code STAYHOT, STAYHOT. That's all one word at drinkspark.com. Yeah, that's all you got to do. And you'll be able to break down football like me.
Let's go. And how are the Bears going to feel about?
Yes, the Bears are taking Blake Miller. Just a wide zone scheme merchant offensive tackle. I think. Maybe this is a storm they can weather. Ozzie Trapillo has a massive injury. Probably the worst one that you can get as an offensive lineman. It's like a torn. What is it? It's a torn. Manny, what is Ozzie Trapillo's injury? Our resident Bears fan. What has he got? A broken heart. The worst one you can have. No, he's got a ruptured patellar tendon. But
damn.
What is that, Blaine? Do you know what that is?
So it's the if you rub like the front part of your knee, like right below your kneecap, like that is your patellar tendon. They're gonna use that to graft me a new ACL. I don't even know what you would do if you're
grafting. You're in a bad space for sure.
I'm just like, I don't even know what they would do for a ruptured patellar tendon. I've never heard of that. That's insane.
The ACL.
It's the muscle that attaches the upper part of your leg to the lower part of your leg, right through the kneecap.
Yeah.
So I imagine if they waved you around with a ruptured patellar tendon, your leg would just be
Like if you try and like flex your foot, like you'll feel that in your patellar tendon. Like what are you supposed to do? Like I can walk around on a torn ACL a little bit. I imagine that's going to be the worst thing ever.
Yes. So that's why I'm going left tackle here, is just because we don't know how Trapio's gonna recover, and we don't know what it's gonna look like. And they're looking at Kieran Amat. I'm not even gonna try. Bears fans know who the backup is, and you know that you don't want him to be protecting Caleb Williams for the whole year. Now, I would love if Spencer Fano fell, because look, maybe Trapio can come back, and he was an exciting rookie for them. So are you willing to kind of waste this year without a left tackle, or try to find not waste it, but find a stopgap option for 12 months while you wait for him to recover, and then use your first round pick on something else? I could definitely see the argument, but for now, that is just by far and away their most glaring need. They didn't really do much to fix it in free agency. I don't know. I guess Braxton Jones is there too. I'm going with left tackle here. That fits with Ben Johnson's scheme. Maybe they could like trade up for a Fano and then say, like, once Trapio's back, we can kick Fano into center or something, and then have our Dahlman replacement, two birds, one stone. That might be ideal. But hey, he's gone. So I took another left tackle. So
I was worried you were going to take who I took with my next pick for the Bills.
Howell,
Cassius Howell. Just, you talk about merchant. I mean, the ultimate speed rush merchant in this class, but damn, is he fast off the line and around the edge. Really, he's my edge too, just because, I mean, that speed off the line is so crazy, and he's got such great bend. So I really do like what he could end up being. Just like his dip and rip is outstanding, and the Bills really need that, but I think the Bears could use that too. So I really was like holding my breath a little bit when.
Oh, I forgot the Bears signed Jedrick Wills too, Blaiden.
Awful. Honestly, okay, not awful,
but win
like
that job.
It could be worse than Jed Wills. It could be.
Maybe it won't be Blake Miller then, because they did sign some stopgap options.
I don't know. I mean, it's
just don't know what else they do. I don't know. Sorry, Bears.
He's probably better than Wills.
Yeah, they could go Terrell. They need a safety really bad too, but I just don't know.
Yeah, Warren. Yeah,
maybe that's what I'd do if I did it over again.
Could have gone a couple of spots higher even. But yeah, I took Cassius Howell here for Buffalo. That's something that, I mean, you look at the trajectory that they've taken this offseason, and it feels like they're really trying to build around Allen and give him the correct supporting cast that he absolutely deserves and needs. And obviously the run game was really good last year, but they brought in DJ Moore to kind of hopefully secure things up with receiver. They promoted Joe Brady to be their head coach to give, I guess, more. We've talked about, we don't love that move, but maybe they feel that'll be a more holistic view of like offense first. But they still need to fix their defense, right? It felt like McDermott was probably the only thing really holding that up. They need pass rush desperately, and I feel like Howell. Well, they need pass rush, they need run defense, they need a lot on defense right now, it feels like. But Howell can at least get them some quick wins around the edge, and I feel like be a productive pass rusher for them.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I like that pick.
I got the 49ers here at 27. A lot of different directions that they could go, but I think I'm going to go Avion Terrell. I think he's really good value here. There's some questions about maybe his size, but overall, like, he's a nice athlete. He does a good job triggering downhill. He's coming off a super solid year. I wouldn't mind seeing him sneak in like Cowboys at 20 wouldn't be crazy to me. So I'm leaning Terrell here, and I think I could use a little bit more corner help.
Yeah, I like Terrell. I mean, there is definitely concerns about, like, what is he, 180 pounds? Like, definitely a lighter corner, but I think he's got enough fluidity to kind of make up for it. Like, you don't really worry about him not being fluid enough to play at that weight. So I think that's going to be a perfectly fine play. The only thing that I have concern about really with him is, like, I think he's kind of grabby, but
I don't necessarily hate that in corners all the time, though.
That's
I'd rather,
yeah.
I'd
That was
rather you
JC
be
Horn.
grabby than lose.
but it's like,
That's why
no,
I have that opinion
you're right. You'd
entirely.
rather be grabby than lose. But, like, I'll see him get beat, and he's like, and I'm like, you could have opened your hips sooner here. You could have gotten to your back pedal a little sooner here, or, like, try and cut off the route before he really breaks up field. And then instead he's, like, turning his hips late and then, like, grabbing at the waist. And I'm like,
And, like, it's tough. It's tough for me to go edge here too. I'm just not crazy high on the edges that are left at this point. And, like, McDonald I like, but I wonder if that's the type of defensive lineman that they're looking for right now. You know what I mean?
No, they want I think a better pass rusher.
Right. And they got Osa, they've got Collins, you know, they're going to get Bosa back. They drafted Michael Williams last year super high. So, and it's like the receipt, could they go KC? It's like maybe, but they just got Evans, and it's not impossible, but I'm going Terrell.
Concepcion would be
like
interesting in that offense, but yeah, I think I like this Terrell pick here for the Niners. So
they're taking Chris Bell, man, in the middle rounds. Book it. I've seen him run a dig and run after catch. They're taking him.
Right.
For the Texans, this is something a pick I've made a couple times, and I feel real conviction about it. If he were to fall, I could see them taking Keldrick Falk. And the response always is, why would they take an edge? They have Danielle Hunter and Will Anderson.
They look at it the wrong way. They don't know who Keldrick Falk is.
The answer is because they rotate those guys constantly. I mean, Will Anderson only plays like 68% of the snaps last year. Like, he's constantly backup for Will Anderson is a job that is important. All right. It's not backup for Max Crosby. All right. It's completely different. And I just think it's a good spot to throw in a 20-year-old guy with tools like Falk, right? Where he's still kind of learning the position. He's still kind of not somebody that you want out there all the time for you. Like, if you took him in your, I don't know, the Eagles, let's say, and he's your new full-time edge. Not that he would be that for them necessarily, but just for an example, like, his pressure rate is not going to be high enough for your defense to survive him starting for you, I think, right away. But for the Texans, their defense, whether or not they pick Keldrick Falk, is going to be elite. And he's only 20 years old. He's going to develop with this length and with this first step that's pretty good, I think. And, like, with this agility that's sort of good for a big guy, he just hasn't, like, put it all together yet in any kind of plan, and he lacks that crazy bend. But he's going to have a time to kind of sit, develop, be a useful run stopper, be someone who can be fresh all the time, be someone who's still seeing the field to get better, to eventually maybe take over for, like, a Danielle Hunter who's 31 years old right now.
Sure.
Maybe they go offensive line. Maybe they have to, but I don't think that they do have to. I mean, it's they need a center. So Lou Blaiden, the mythical Lou, could be here, but I mean, they have Braden Smith and Brown and Teller now, and they've got Ursery and Ed Ingram. So, like, it's a unit that they survived with last year, you know, and they didn't take a offensive lineman in the first round. Now they did take one with their first pick, but they traded out of the first round, and they ended up being all right. So I just don't think they're like, people think, oh, Texans, they need an offensive lineman no matter what. But I really think a developmental edge guy could make a lot of sense in this context specifically. So that's my reasoning for Falk being here.
Yeah, definitely developmental. The length is really enticing.
Yeah, I think we were a little too low on him in our edge episode, honestly. Like, the pass rushing is not there, and the first step has not been great, but I don't know if necessarily the first step is all athleticism rather than like
it's focus. I mean, that's this big problem.
Focus. And he's really, really traitsy, which is important for an edge. And he's already a really good run defender who's got some size and might be able to play like some inside stuff if you put some weight on him, plus the age. Like I would take that over a lot of guys in this class for the team.
You're hoping he's DeMarcus Lawrence, right? You're hoping he's somebody who just kicks ass in the run game, has tons of energy to always pursue from the backside and make a tackle, can set you up with his first step and cross your face, even though there's not a ton of bend there, but just like be a glass eater who does all the little things right and overall can help your offense stay in or your defense stay in a too high shell and you're all good. As a complementary piece to someone like Micah Parsons or Leonard Williams and the rest of the people Seattle had. I really do see that. I could see Falk in that role, but he's so unfocused and there's just so little bend that I do think it's a bit pie in the sky. But for the Texans, I could see like if it's going to work out anywhere, I could see it working out in Houston. So
I might like KC here though. They could really use another receiver as things stand.
But they took Noel and Higgins so high last year.
That's true.
I could see a CJ Allen. I could see a Rodriguez. I could see a CJ Allen.
I like Rodriguez from what I've seen.
Because El Shair's just got 1 year left on his deal, and then their second highest paid linebacker is Speed. So I could see something like that. Of course, they could go offensive line.
They could take Connor Lew.
They absolutely could. I wouldn't even hate that because their center is such a. If Lew is really like that, like absolutely go for it. But
man. Just trust.
If Falk fell, I could see it. I could see it.
But Matt, you said they could take KC. What if KC took KC, man? The Kansas City Chiefs take KC Concepcion. They get this guy who is, I mean, truly a circus catch machine. His best catches are up there with anyone else. They're, I think, up there with Jordan Tyson. Like truly like video game level catches, going outside of his frame, attacking the ball at the first available window. And then like also getting his body oriented to make these crazy catches is always really is just really exciting as well. He's also just a really, really athletic, smooth mover. I like him a lot, as we've talked about on the receivers episode. And I do think the Chiefs would benefit from another receiver.
Is this the type of receiver that they're looking for? I don't know. My question.
Maybe not.
I feel like they're probably more targeting like a true outside.
Yeah, they might want like a
feeder.
They might want like a Surratt.
Yeah, something more along those lines.
Because they need a field stretcher. But I think Concepcion can stretch the field, right? Well, Theo, we can't hear you. I'm sure you're cooking though.
I would say a field stretcher is the one thing they don't need. They got Worthy and Tyquan Thornton.
Can they stretch the field? Like they haven't really been able to.
Right. They haven't hit. They stretch the field. They haven't been able to hit the stretch field. But who are you giving up on? Because they just. I mean, it feels like you'd be giving up on Worthy then.
I don't think you're giving up on Worthy.
Because they signed Thornton.
They just extended Kelsey for a $1 trillion.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I don't know. Maybe they just view Worthy and Thornton as their outside guys, and they're fine with that. And then Rice is more of the slot gadgety guy, I guess, or whatever you want to call that. And they
well, and you also might need a little insurance for Rice.
Yeah, that's true.
Yes, that's absolutely true. I mean, you do kind of want to give them a receiver because their receivers have been disappointing. But then you look at their receiver room and it's like, well, they've committed this and so and that to these guys. That are they going to take a receiver in the first round, even though all of their spots could use an upgrade?
Yeah.
I would lean that what they're telling us is they're going to keep the receiver room the way it is. I think bringing Thornton back made me think like they'll probably go defense with this pick. would be my bet.
But they already, you know, I felt really good about this because you guys already got Jermon McCoy earlier.
We did.
Yeah. Matt, you and Matt swapped, and the Chiefs got McCoy and the Bengals got Arvell Reese. So
yeah. I mean, they're a complete roster. So if he's your best player available, I can see it. But I just don't know where their receiver room is at, if they're totally out on it as currently constructed. I think they've got maybe 1 year left to like.
I like KC. It just does feel like, you know, here's what I'll say. It feels like all their receivers have like some limitations. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like KC is some like perfectly unlimited, like the hands and his usage was weird in college. Adding another guy like that to this receiver room seems interesting. It's like, how exactly are we going to get him on the field? But I'm not that low on KC.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's like that crazy here at 29. You know what I'm saying?
Who is that one Clemson contested catch guy that they always had and everyone got hyped about every
Ross?
Everyone got hyped about him every training camp, only for him to never do anything.
He had like neck issues, right? He had a really brutal injury and that took him out.
Yeah.
God bless him.
Matt.
Dolphins 30. We're taking McNeil Warren. Fine.
There we go.
They need some defensive. I mean, they're a BPA team, I think, through and through, right? There's almost no position that I'm like totally out on them taking. Frankly, KC would be a much better fit here, where it's like, cool, this is gonna be our guy. And I would have loved to do that, but they also have a pretty weak secondary. So McNeil Warren here is somebody who I thought was like a really good athlete, who had some instincts, but I guess didn't test nearly as well as some of the other top guys. Like his testing was just fine, I think, but he's someone who has the ability to like play down in the box. That's what Toledo did with him a lot, and he's comfortable around the line of scrimmage, but I also think has the range and the vision to go play over the top and deep, and if you want him to make a play on the ball that way. So somebody versatile like that, who I think has rightfully been shooting up boards, would be a nice pick here at 30.
Matt, do you want to swap again? We could give the Chiefs McNeil Warren and give the Dolphins Concepcion.
That does kind of make some sense.
It does kind of make some sense.
All right, let's do it.
All right. I can't believe we did this twice.
The Chiefs are just
with the Chiefs, right? The Chiefs both times.
Oh yeah, it was KC both.
Yeah, it was KC both times.
If they ended up with McCoy and KC Concepcion, I feel like, or no, I guess if they ended up with McCoy and McNeil Warren, I'd feel pretty good about that. But here's the issue with that.
Sure.
The issue is that Kansas City's big play this offseason was like, we're letting our whole secondary walk. Are they doing that to then go and spend both these first-round draft picks on?
That's what the Titans
I think it makes sense. I think that makes sense. Because we're not letting the secondary walk and going with the terrible secondary cheese. We just want to reset the contracts. Like, you know, the meta is to have nobodies back there. I just don't think that's their thinking. Obviously, they're
going with the Rams plan from last year that didn't work. You know,
they're going to have to replace these guys in the draft. Whether it's first rounders, I don't know. But why not? Like, first rounders are pretty cheap, especially here at 30. Safety is a little bit less of a sure thing maybe than corner, because corner is like such a need, I'd say. Whereas safety, like they signed Gilman and maybe you could put in Jaden Hicks. I guess I don't know. But I think two secondary players I do think the two secondary players could make sense. Now, more than that, you might like to replace like a Felix, an Ndike Uzoma, and get an edge opposite Karlaftis and complementing Chris Jones. That would be probably ideal.
Might be even the way that I go at 29 if it were up to me.
Sure.
Maybe. They did sign Tonga, and Chris Jones is still around.
Yeah, they did sign Tonga.
Yeah. So edge would probably be ideal, but like, are you taking an edge over? Are we taking an edge over? The thing about McNeil Warren is I think he's a bit of a steal this late because he's so big with ball skills. So I like the swap. I think it makes more sense taking him than Concepcion, and I think for the Dolphins, Concepcion.
And we got to get
what other edge would you? What other edge would
we do need to get Malik Willis some help. He can't throw it to McNeil Warren.
I'm not feeling good about the Malik Willis stuff, and I was like, no, guys,
you can't throw it to McNeil Warren.
It's like, I'm not feling good about this. I'm a little sick.
Yeah. But you're
not feeling good about Malik Willis with no help. Why? That seems like such a great idea.
Right.
I mean, if he had help, it could be okay. So I do like this. This sits more right with my soul.
They're gonna go double receiver.
If we keep saying McDonald to throw McDonald to the Bears instead of Blake Miller, I guess I didn't initially realize just how many like random people they had to throw at the left tackle position, which is not good, but it may signal that their first round pick is going to be like Banks or McDonald.
I think McDonald would be a really good pick for them.
Yeah. So maybe just throw that in there for the Bears as well as we're making like some edits and erasing things.
That's fine. Whatever.
That's fine.
Yeah.
All right.
Throw McDonald in for the Bears.
Throw him in for the Bears instead of Blake Miller. And I'm sorry if you guys wanted to really pick Blake Miller.
It's okay. I think the draft. That's all right. I don't think.
I mean, I know Matt and I both like have teased at picking McDonald a couple of times. I think it's fine to get him on the board.
Yeah.
So
I could see the 49ers really taking Blake Miller, but I like Avianto a little bit more. Yeah. Anyway, okay. So after we've stopped and edited the whole mock draft, I'm going with the Patriots. I'm going to take Stowers. Yeah. I'm going to take Eli Stowers.
Your pick. I'm sorry.
He sneaks into the first round. I think they really need a receiver. Like, I know they signed Dobbs, and I really like that signing for them, but just looking at the money, it's still going to be Hollins playing a massive role on the outside. Hunter Henry has 1 year left on his deal. This is it, and he's 30, and he could probably be upgraded from anyway. And I like Stowers in New England with May as kind of the seam stretching guy that you can really be aggressive with. You think about him running those in-breakers and benders and just catching tough passes over the middle like that. He is kind of that Jimmy Graham type of above the rim threat, I think, at the tight end position. And I think with Concepcion gone, maybe Brazel from Tennessee is someone that you'd look at here over a tight end, but I just feel a little bit more confident in my evaluation of Stowers right now. I think that he would be a huge upgrade over Austin Hooper and does kind of the same things for the Patriots. So yeah, I think they'd want to play that way with two of them, and I think Stowers would represent just like you can't even. He is such a more dangerous receiver than an Austin Hooper. Like, he really eats up ground and can bend and set you up midway through the route like a wide receiver can, while being super huge with a 40-inch vertical and all that. So they need a receiving threat, and to me, Stowers is the best available receiving threat left on the board. So,
yep. And then the last pick of the draft goes to me, and the Seahawks lost K9, so I'm drafting Jadarian Price for them.
It's a little high for me. I really like Price's high-end outcome, but
yeah,
I don't know if I'm quite first-round pick level on him.
I would have an early second rounder, and so I feel fine taking him with like at the
because there's some other like I need to. The thing is we haven't done our corner episode yet, so I'm not.
We haven't
corners, but I from what I've seen, it's a really strong corner class, and that could be an option for him. Brazel would be an option for him. Bradford obviously was one of the weak points of the offensive line and just the team overall. And I don't know. I'm a little. I think it's a little high.
Yeah, no, I can see that. He's my RB2 in this class, though. I think he's super explosive hitting the hole. So the high end of that, I mean, it's almost kind of the antithesis of what they just had with K9, where it's like this patience and, you know, the lateral moves to kind of open things up in front of him. And now if you bring in a guy who's just like straight shot, you know, hits the hole with all this fire and power, And he's really good at he can really
He's a
break
sick
off
player.
He's a sick player. And he's a great special teams piece. Like he can return kicks for you, which they don't really need because they still have Shaheed, but gives them that option. They could have a 2-headed special teams demon.
Kick it away from Shaheed. But my problem with this pick is this would be like the Chiefs' strategy with McDuffie, right? Like, oh, why would we pay K9? We can let him walk and then replace him in the draft. But the thing about McDuffie is he's getting paid $31 million.
Sure.
So he's a much bigger slog on your cap space than what K9 is. And what I like about running backs and these other things, which I've mentioned a million times now, is like K9 will be cheap throughout his career. But if you're letting him walk because he's still too expensive, why would you take a running back then in the first? Although they did take K9 not that far away from the first round in the first place. It was like top 50 for sure, right? It was really early in the second.
I mean, they spent multiple premium picks on running backs. They clearly
Penny,
have their own.
and it's still the same GM.
They have their own theory.
So maybe I could see it. I just would rather pay K9 than let him walk.
I agree.
Bad about K9's injury history or something like that, and they feel like he's going to age poorly. I could see that. I think that this would make a little bit more sense, like if they go with like him or Coleman at 64. I'm like, okay, I see what their vision is a little bit more. At first round, again, I just think there's probably going to be a corner here that might be a better pick, but they've got Job and Witherspoon, so maybe they feel like they have to do that. Or
I could see them taking. This is again Rodriguez and Allen. I think.
Yeah, they could go
next to Ernest Jones.
The thing is,
I
we
could see them
watched all the corners yet, right? So I could see if there's like a really rangy, big, like a true Woolen replacement who's like maybe better. Maybe that's who you would pick here at 32 instead. But I mean, they just won the Super Bowl, so they've got a pretty good roster on their hands. But losing K9 sucks, and I agree. I would rather have just kept K9.
Yeah,
but
clearly they did need a really good running back to like carry them through the playoffs. So maybe they were like
clearly important.
We still do need that, but. At any rate, we're getting closer and closer to the right answer on our mock draft. So
this is true.
So we got one more final one that we'll do right before the draft.
Yes.
Mock draft 3.0. And by that time, we'll have all this shit completely figured out. And like we're narrowing it in. From the beginning of this episode to the end, we already got smarter about who these teams are going to take. So by the third one, we're going to be dialed. So you got to listen.
You're not even going to watch it because you'll have a bad draft night. It's going to be bad.
We'll spoil. It'll be draft spoilers. We're tipping the picks. Tipping
that's
every
a great
pick.
Title for
that's what we'll do.
Mock draft is title it draft spoilers.
Tipping every pick of the first round.
Pick, and then it's like Connor Lew at 4. Like, God damn it, dude.
Bro, he should go first overall. If the Raiders were smart, man,
if it were me.
Tipping every pick. David Bailey is.
Bro, when I draft Connor Lew #1 overall in Madden, and I get the you reached, but he has hidden development. Anyway, that'll do it for this episode. Thank you all so much for tuning in for Stay Hot Mock 2.0. We'll be back, of course, for 3.0. We're doing our quarterbacks episode for pre-draft. Up next, we'll be doing the rest of the position groups that we haven't done yet. Corners, linebackers, of course. But until then, and until next time, as always, from your favorite fellas here at Stay Hot, we will catch you on the flippity flop.